on January 2nd, 2015, and as advised on July 14th, 2015. Adequate notice of this meeting pursuant to the Open Public Meetings Act has been furnished by inclusion thereof in the annual schedule of meetings for 2015, which has been posted on the bulletin board at Borough Hall, filed with Borough Clerk, faxed to the Our Town, the Record, the community newspapers, and distributed to all persons, if any, requesting copies of same pursuant to said act. In case of emergency or fire alarm, you must evacuate the building by using any of the exit doors in the room. They're immediately to my right, and the double doors at the rear of the room. Occupants must exit the building by using the staircase and not the elevator. This meeting is being recorded by both video and audio and may be rebroadcast.
Would everyone join me, please, in saluting the flag?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Before we begin, if you would all join me in a moment of silence for the passing of former Councilman Fred Brandt and Michael Gagliardi, husband of Marie Gagliardi, former Maywood school teacher. Thank you. Roll call.
Mayor Fabret.
Here.
Council members Trevino.
Here.
DeHere.
Here.
Eisenberg.
Here.
Messer.
Here.
Lindenau.
Here.
Baroni.
Here.
Borough Attorney Ronald Ario.
Here.
Borough Administrator Roberta Stern is absent. Borough Clerk Jean Pellegra is present.
Okay. We have proclamations and presentations. This seems to be an ongoing theme, but yet again we are honoring the Dolphins swim team. The Dolphins had a 4-0 season again this summer, winning meets with Oradell, Leonia, Meadowlands Y, the Ridgefield Park. Dolphins won 3 of these meets by over 100 points. The Dolphins then won the league championship meet with a 108-point margin over second-place Leonia. Over 80 members of the team then competed in the NJPMA championship meets. The Dolphins placed first in multiple individual and relay events, and our 11-12 girls, Brianna Williams, Gigi Baccarizzo, Ava Gervino, and Gabby Bolger set new county records in the freestyle relay at 200 meters, and 200 meters medley relay, breaking previous records previously set by Maywood. There were quite a number of new swimmers that joined the team this summer, all of whom made significant improvements over the season according to the coaches. Strategically, the coaches often put swimmers in events that they had not previously competed in, or swam them up. For example, competing at a higher age group than they belonged to. The swimmers took on these challenges, demonstrating their outstanding team support and achieving great results and some personal bests. Great kudos go to the Dolphins' 3 terrific coaches, Jackie Cormier, Mark Tillman, and Cristiana Cusmano. So on behalf of the Mayor and Council, I'd like to congratulate the coaches, parents, and most importantly, the 2015 Maywood Dolphins for another undefeated season. We have a certificate of recognition, and it reads, this certificate of recognition is awarded to the 2015 Maywood Dolphins swim team in recognition of and congratulations on your undefeated season and for duly representing your hometown, the Borough of Maywood. Everyone come up, we'll present this, and then maybe we can take a nice group picture. Come on, listen, let's go, if we can, shortest to tallest, and I'm going to stay by the shortest guy, so I look like I'm very tall. I was joking. I'll just...
Everybody's got in. Everyone looks cheap.
Let's go.
Guys, there's more cameras. Adrian, does that come down, Adrian? No, it doesn't.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Take care, guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll tell you what, we're about to we're going to give a commendation right now, and just like the undefeated seasons that these guys keep having, we keep having great support, and the work that these gentlemen do, and ladies do for our town is unheralded. Many times it goes unnoticed because there's no events. This is one of those situations, it's a non-event, but it could have been an event, so that's why we are honoring these gentlemen. So, with that, you've heard it said up here a million times in the last 4 years that the Maywood Police Department is one of the finest in the state. These men and women put their lives on the line every day. They go out on the road in order to keep this community safe. We have people coming to our town that don't care that Maywood is supposed to be a sleepy little suburb. And several weeks ago, Officers Nichols and Masu had to make a life and death decision in a nanosecond. And to their credit, these officers made the right choice, and that is why we're honoring them today. So, let me get these awards. They read, Borough of Maywood Certificate of Commendation is awarded to Police Officer Christopher Nichols in recognition of the valor and dedication you have exhibited in safeguarding the lives and property of the citizens in and for the Borough of Maywood. And the same is awarded to Police Officer Walter Masu. Gentlemen, from the bottom of my heart, I know I talked to some of you guys a couple days after it happened. I want to thank you because you kept Maywood a sleepy little town. Because if it went the other way, believe me, we wouldn't want to be in that situation. So I want to rise, have everybody please. Let's all just go down. They saved us all. I'm not just the 8 by myself. Another thing that often goes unsaid is the training that these men receive. It's second to none, from the academy all the way to right here. Unbelievable. Chief, you know what? I would be remiss if we did not thank you very much. So, with that. All right.
You got to crowd in with you guys. Good? Thank you. Where's Joey? Get over here, Joey. What's up, Joey? Hold this up. Joey down. One other thing. Joey, do you want to say something?
Yeah.
Guys,
Listen,
thank you for tonight, to congratulate that Christian Walker. We're going to get an award, and I just figure in myself that I didn't know it was going to be in the paper, that I saw the guy in the paper that they did the right thing to go after him, because my mom was telling me I was going to play back at the park every night. Don't go to the park at night, this or that, really that late, because this is how bad people cause trouble. So that's why, this is why Christian and Walter deserve what they did was the right thing. On a Friday night, and got responded by Ray Shattuck and told him to go to the park and go arrest the guy.
Thank you, John.
That's it.
Thanks very much, buddy. We have two more proclamations. This one. This is the sickle cell awareness. Whereas sickle cell disease is the most common genetic disorder in the United States, and whereas an estimated 100,000 people live with sickle cell disease in the United States, up to 8% are African American, but many different races are affected. Millions are affected globally, and whereas sickle cell disease occurs among about 1 out of every 500 African American births, and whereas sickle cell disease is a group of inherited red blood cell disorders that is present at birth. To have this disease, both sets of parents must pass down sickle cell genes. There is a 25% chance that both parents carry the sickle cell trait. People who have SCT inherit one sickle cell gene from one parent and one normal gene from the other parent. People with SCT usually do not have any signs of the disease and live a normal life, but they can pass the trait on to their children. And whereas sickle cell trait occurs among about 1 in 12 African Americans, and whereas sickle cell disease is diagnosed with a simple blood test, and most often is found at birth during routine newborn screening tests at the hospital, because children with SCD are at an increased risk of infection and other health problems. Early diagnosis and treatment are important. And whereas sickle cell disease is chronic but treatable, although there is no single best treatment for all people with SCD. Treatment options are different for each person depending on the symptoms, which can range from mild to severe. And whereas there is no universal cure for sickle cell disease, and the average life expectancy is now in the mid-40s years of age. And now, therefore, I, Adrian J. February, Mayor of the Borough of Maywood, do hereby proclaim September 2015 Sickle Cell Awareness Month in the Borough of Maywood in order to help raise awareness of sickle cell disease and its victims. One more. Whereas 46 children in the United States will be diagnosed with cancer each day, and whereas 1 out of 5 children diagnosed with cancer will not survive the disease, and whereas the types of cancers that affect children are most often very different from those that affect adults, and whereas childhood cancer is not just one disease, but is made up of a dozen types of countless subtypes of cancer, whereas childhood cancer spares no socioeconomic, ethnic, racial, or geographic class, and whereas pediatric cancer is the leading cause of death by disease in the U.S. for children under 19 years of age, and whereas the cause of most pediatric cancers are largely unknown and not strongly linked to lifestyle, unlike adult cancers. And whereas 2/3 of childhood cancer patients will develop long-lasting chronic conditions as a result from treatment that prevent them from fully participating in school, social activities, and work. And whereas childhood cancer rates have been rising for the past few decades, and approximately 15,780 children were diagnosed in 2014. And the incidence of invasive pediatric cancer is up to 29% in the past 20 years. And whereas cancer kills more children than AIDS, asthma, cystic fibrosis, diabetes, and muscular dystrophy combined. Whereas in the last 25 years, only 2 drugs have been specifically developed for children's cancer, and in the last 20 years, the FDA initially approved only 1 drug for any childhood cancer. And whereas less than 5% of the federal government's total funding for cancer research is dedicated to childhood cancers, and only about 3% of funds raised for the National Cancer Institute go directly to pediatric cancer research. And whereas funding for pediatric cancer research has gone down steadily since 2003, and whereas despite the facts, childhood cancer research is vastly and consistently underfunded. And whereas despite the major advances in treatment, it is still critically important to conduct research and increase awareness regarding pediatric cancer. Now therefore, I, Adrian J. Febre, Mayor of the Borough of Maywood, do hereby proclaim September 2015 Childhood Cancer Awareness Month in the Borough of Maywood in order to help raise awareness of pediatric cancer and its treatments. All right, public hearing on the submission of the year 2015 Bergen County Open Space Trust Fund grant applications, capital redevelopment and rehabilitation project. I'd like to open the meeting to the public specifically for comments on that. Does anyone wish to be heard? Yes.
Tom Richards, 347 Golf Avenue. On the open space grant, who wrote that grant? Grant what?
Yes.
She wrote that grant.
I
Thank
believe
you.
she did. Anyone else wish to be heard? Okay. Seeing none, close the meeting to the public on that issue alone. Brett?
Thank you. Honorable Mayor and Council, our office issued an engineer's report. The date of the report was for the 3rd of September for tonight's meeting. The first item on the list is the Economic Recovery Program grant. We understand through correspondence from Mr. Dario that Hanjin is moving forward with the easement agreement, which will permit the borough to complete the project and construct it. Once he's formalized that agreement with the Hanjin property, which is located in Paramus, permitting and also construction documents could be prepared so that the project can move forward accordingly. The second item on the list is the PSE&G Improvement Project on Central Avenue. On the 14th of September, at the intersection of Esplanade and Central Avenue, there'll be some work with respect to jack and bore activity and gas main construction activities. This work will potentially occur for the next 2 months, 45 to 60 days at this location. It will lead to detouring as it relates to traveling eastbound and westbound on Central Avenue. The westbound traffic on Central will be unimpeded, but the eastbound traffic will be rerouted accordingly and detours will be in place. The roadway paving as it relates to Central Avenue will not be proceeding in 2015. It will be occurring by PSE&G in mid-2016. The PSE&G 69 kV, which is the larger utility pole improvement project, we've been informed by PSE&G that that work is off of their schedule at this point in time. Once they've scheduled that work, they'll provide the municipality with a 3-month lead time so that the borough can further understand the project as a whole. The Maywood Avenue Streetscape Project, our office has completed the construction documents. Those documents have been forwarded to the state of New Jersey. The document pickup is scheduled for October 2nd, with the bid opening occurring on October 29th. Potentially, the governing body would be able to award that project at its first meeting in November. The next project on the list relates to the Pleasant Avenue traffic circulation. That project, again, was completed in mid-August. We've issued a letter to the state to close out that application and that project so that the borough could receive its reimbursement as part of that grant program project. Jersey Avenue and Parkway, which are funded by the DOT Municipal Aid Grant and the year 2015 Roadway Improvement Program. That project was awarded last month. At this time, a pre-construction meeting is scheduled for this Thursday at 2:30 at Borough Hall. Subsequent to that pre-construction meeting, construction would begin immediately on the project. The final item on the list is the various sidewalk slab and repair replacement solicitation, which we've issued to a series of contractors. We then received quotes back and then issued a recommendation letter for consideration by the governing body. A final item, which is not listed within the report, but we would request some information as it relates to it, is the NJDOT call for projects for 2016 grants. That call has been made, letters have been issued to municipalities in the state. That grant application is due October 20th of this year, and the borough would need to consider potential roadways that it would like our office potentially to file a grant for. Some to consider would be Oak, Elm, Poplar, and Golf would be four to name, and then we would just look for some direction as to which roadway you'd like to submit. That would conclude our report. I'd be glad to address any questions or comments the governing body had.
Mr. Flanagan.
Sure.
The $30,000 grant, and it shows that it cost us $20,891. I think that's outrageous for what was done, but it didn't cost us any money, so I guess I'm not going to complain. But I wanted to know what happened with the other $10,000. Did we just not get that?
No, what will occur is there were some construction management fees as it related to the project for our office to inspect. Those will be fully refunded as part of the grant, and then the remainder of that would be forwarded back to the state since you completed the project under budget.
Okay, so above the $20,891, how much extra is there?
I think it was $2,500 was our proposal for construction management.
Is there anything we could do in town with the other $7,500 to use it up?
You couldn't due to the fact that the grant that was submitted was for the traffic circulation patterns and circles at those intersections and the striped arrows. Our engineer's estimate at the time was for $30,000. That was the funding you were awarded. We then solicited firms to acquire quotes. The quotes that were received and the lowest quote received was in that amount. That was the funding that you'll utilize plus the construction management fees.
How about some signage to turn wide, or about how to navigate the turnarounds? A lot of people cut through the middle of them, don't make the full swoop. Could we maybe get some signage?
We could look into that if the governing body would like us to look into that.
Extra money rather than just giving it back?
It'd be to the governing body's purview.
Okay, thank you.
Let's talk about that.
Sure.
You with Roberta, when we discuss the streets going forward for next year.
Be glad to.
It's not a bad idea.
Understand.
We'll talk about that.
Sure.
Anything else for the engineer?
Thank you.
If you just wait until the
I'd be glad to.
public speaks, just
Sure.
in case you have questions. Thank you.
The streetscape resolution authorizing to go out to bid. I think we, did you receive that? We didn't do that yet, the council, did we?
I can't answer, but I know it's been forwarded to the,
Oh, you did? Okay.
it's been forwarded to the borough, that you have it in your hands, yeah, definitely.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I just wanted to double check.
I'd rather triple check
Yeah.
than get it wrong.
Mhm.
Okay, at this point, let's open the meeting to the public. Anyone wishing to be heard from the public? Okay, seeing no one, close the meeting to the public. Greg, thank you very much.
Thank you. Have a good night.
You too.
Thank you.
Thank you. We have no pending ordinances, correspondence and report of the borough clerk.
The only thing I have to report upon the adoption of the resolution on tonight for the DPW J-hook truck, the truck with the lift plow and various equipment, both that and the backhoe will, the bid specifications, we're doing final cleanup on that, and that's going to be advertised for bids, and the bid opening will be on October 1st for both of those. And that's all I have.
Thank you.
I just asked, if the bid will be opened on the 1st, and then we'll decide at the next meeting and then purchase
Correct.
the equipment shortly thereafter, so that
Correct. The
they'll have it
13th.
for the season.
Hopefully.
That's the plan. Okay.
The plan, Stan.
Okay.
Okay. Report Administrator Roberta is ill. She was in today, but she's battling a cough, so she couldn't make it tonight. Report of the Borough Attorney.
Mr. Mayor, I have a report to give in closed session.
Absolutely. Committee reports. Councilman Trevino.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Report from the library meeting from August 19th. In the month of July, they added 777 items. The library collection, 515 of these were to the children's collection. For the summer reading updates, the Hackbar Foundation generously provided funding to retain the children's specialists for the remainder of the summer. For the super readers and the Reading Heroes programs, they continued crafts throughout August 10th. Science Tellers performed at the Summer Reading Club Family Night. The program was a huge success with nearly 100 attendees. And the Summer Reading Party was the final event of the Summer Reading program held on August 11th. Approximately 75 children and 65 adults were attendants, and Mark the Magician entertained them. Prizes were awarded to winners from each age group. These were for children who submitted a reading log during the week. They were entered into a raffle. And during the month, they had 2 adult programs that were held, one on August 21st for wild edibles. It was a foraging workshop, and a sustainable gardening workshop was conducted on August 28th. I would also like to mention that there's a dedication of the First Street Bridge in Hackensack High School to Harold Bloom. Most of us know him as Hal, for his 39 years of service. I had the pleasure of meeting Hal for the first time this year when I became the liaison of the Maywood Public Library. It didn't take long for me to realize how dedicated Hal is to the community, the Maywood Library, and the education of our children. What I didn't know until recently is the amazing accomplishments Hal has made over the years and continues to make today. I won't even try to mention all of them, but here are a couple that stood out to me. Hal has served as a U.S. Army Medical Corps, received his bachelor's degree and Master of Arts degree from New York University. He taught English and Social Studies at Hackensack High School, became the chairman of the Social Studies Department. He advanced to assistant principal and then became principal of Hackensack High School. He was a councilman for the Borough of Maywood, president of the Memorial School PTA, director of a day camp, and the coach of a rifle team. He published articles in the NJEA Journal, and he was instrumental in the building of the Maywood Library and has been involved with the Rotary Club since 1967. I find it amazing that one person could do all this while raising a family. Even now, while Hal's supposed to be retired, he is the president of the Maywood Library Board of Directors, where he volunteers countless hours at the library and working with the Hackbar Foundation. This is, as it was quoted in several publications I have read, the naming of the bridge for Hal is fitting, as his legacy was to make a connection, a bridge, between education and community, schools and family. As a visionary, he inspired students, parents, and educators alike to build the future that is today. The dedication will be held on September 26th in Hackensack High School Auditorium on 1st and Beach Streets from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. Anyone wishing to attend the celebration, please RSVP via email to hhs-bloombridge@aol.com, regular mail to Linda Bloom, 212 Waldland Place, Maywood, New Jersey, or call Linda at 201-587-9155, and all that information was posted in New York now. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Trevino. Mr. DeHare.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Building Department, last month, the construction fees totaled, construction permit fees, totaled $20,518. The zoning official continues to send out letters to property owners who are in violation of borough ordinances regarding property maintenance, and we've actually received checks back in response to those. So that was good news. Planning Board, the meeting we had on August 27th, the Planning Board voted to send revisions to the applicable borough land use ordinances to the Mayor and Council for review and consideration. They also continue to be very active on the future development of the property on Route 17 North, the existing Sears site and the plant spot behind that. Just to remind everybody, I'm sure we'll get to as well, that the school is back, so please be careful driving with the kids as well as the crossing guards. And keeping in the theme that we have tonight with the swim team, the police, and Hal Bloom. I received, I'm sure you all did too, an email from John Brown, a very active resident in town, and he had sent an article from this place, Only in Your State, and it lists the 12 most beautiful, charming small towns in New Jersey, and Maywood was number 7. So I'm sure we've seen that. Just in case you haven't, I thought that was pretty special. So we know we live in a great town, but other people recognize it. And there's a lot of great towns in Jersey, a lot of small towns, but I was quite impressed that we were listed on there. And that is all I have this evening, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Hare. You remember 2 years ago, Maywood was also voted the second best place in New Jersey to retire.
Right.
So it looks like people from out of this town are starting to recognize what we know, what a great town Maywood is. Thank you. Besides,
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I've continued reviewing the ordinances, and I'll report on a few of them that I think need amending. With respect to the building codes, they refer to a public officer, and that probably should be changed to a construction code official. With respect to block parties, the way that the block party permit works right now is that the person who pulls the permit has to indemnify the borough, and they have to provide insurance. And there's a couple of problems with that. One is that while they indemnify the borough, they're not doing that for all the other people that come to the block party, some of them not even from this town, that are just guests. And the providing of insurance, it's not spelled out that clearly. We ask them to provide proof of insurance, but we don't read their policy to see exactly what's covered. And one of the things that Mr. Messer was going to do as the insurance coordinator was to speak with the risk manager to see if there's a particular rider or bond that they can purchase from our insurance company with the block party permit that would cover it. So we would be sure that the town was covered, and that would probably be a better solution and better for the resident that's pulling the permit. The ordinances refer to fire limits and to specific areas of town that are deemed fire limits, and there's streets named and there's blocks and lots named, but it hasn't been updated in a number of years. I don't believe that the Bergen Mall has been added to it, and some of the other newer developments, so that needs to be looked at. There's some language with respect to canines that could probably be clarified with respect to the gender of dogs, and just referring to them as canines.
That's what we were.
Correct. Correct. On the bins where you put old clothing, the donation bins, there's no specifications about the bins. There's been some problems with older bins in some towns where children crawl into them and get stuck in them, where homeless people go into them. And part of the condition for putting a bin in this town should be that it meets newer guidelines with respect to safety. On fuel oil, if you have a multifamily property where there's one oil tank and the owner is providing heat, if it's an owner-occupied 1 to 5 family residence, it seems that the owner may be exempt from providing heat for his tenants if he lives there. And that probably should be removed. If you have one tenant and that tenant doesn't have their own utilities, then the landlord should have to provide the heat for them. And the same thing with natural gas. there's a reference to curbside leaf collection, which we all know we don't have anymore, and that probably should be removed. On motor vehicles, on handicap parking, it only refers to tags and/or license plates issued by the New Jersey Division of Motor Vehicles. There's a couple of problems there. One is it's now called New Jersey Motor Vehicle Commission, not Division of Motor Vehicles. And two is that it doesn't seem to cover someone who comes from another state that has a handicap license plate. And we probably should extend handicap parking privileges to any state-issued authority that issues license plates or placards, or the federal government. Heating. In the ordinances that do provide for heat, it seems like between 11 p.m. at night and 6 a.m. in the morning, you don't have to provide heat. And that really should be 24 hours. And another one that Mr. Messer pointed out was that our electrical codes are set to the 1975 code book. It should probably reference a more recent code book. Mr. Messer pointed out not necessarily the latest code book, but one that the official deems is, adequately protects our residents and is more current. And that concludes my report. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Messer. Mr. Messer. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Recreation announcement, Halloween party, Friday, October 30th, from 7 to 9 in the pool parking lot for grades 7 to 12. There'll be DJ, hot dogs, and water. This is sponsored by the Maywood Recreation. Public safety. First off, as Councilman Belair pointed out, public schools in Maywood start tomorrow. Please drive safely. September is Preparedness Month. The New Jersey State Police Office of Emergency Management, along with FEMA, are looking to promote awareness for preparations for emergencies, specifically hurricanes, whatever the case is. I'd like to see if there's a way we can share this information with the public, either through our website or through a way of emailing it out to people. There's different topics that we could share with people, including supply disaster kit, lines of communication, making sure that everybody in your family, if something were to happen, knows who to call, where to go if there is an emergency. And thirdly, having a preparation plan kit for your pet. They're part of the family as well. From the police department, I'd like to echo the mayor's sentiments in thanking officers Sue and Nichols in keeping Maywood a safe and quiet town, and as Councilman Belair had said prior, number 7 on the list. Thank you for keeping us there. My favorite topic, the Deptford, the Chapter 54 mandate on cameras for police vehicles. And speaking with the borough attorney, Deptford is looking for support from other municipalities in fighting this, what they believe and what I believe is an unfunded mandate. What kind of information do you have, Ron? It's like $500
Well,
they're looking for?
it's not official yet, but I spoke to the League of Municipalities, and they want to take up the fight along with Deptford and aid them, because Deptford is making this fight. If they're winning, they not only help themselves, but they help every other town in the state. So, and it's an unfair burden for them to front the whole cost. So, people at the League of Municipalities were talking about doing something like we were doing with the COA group, where we hired that one group. So they're talking about everybody, and it's just speculation as of last week, but if they can get every town kicking $500 to help fund the cause, and they were looking for some feedback on that, and it's not a whole lot of money to help. Obviously, we're not, we wouldn't be taking the lead on this thing. Deptford would be, we would just be doing a few bucks their way.
Thank you. Keep us posted on that. Do something that we'll talk about in the next meeting. The chief has reported the new CAD system will be live shortly, so that's good to hear. And the bicycle safety initiative is moving forward. We will have an event at the Fall Festival, and they're currently discussing having some informational seminars at the schools for the children for bicycle safety. That's all I have. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Messer. Just
follow up on what you said. I've spoken with the deputy director of the OEM and the director. We're looking to put something together this month. We usually do something. We didn't do anything last year, but 2 years before that, we did a little seminar. And to piggyback on the preparations for the dogs, you have to have cages. If you have to go into a shelter, your pets have to have cages. So that should be the kit as well. They won't take individuals in shelters with pets that aren't in the cage. So that probably will be gone into at a seminar that we have hopefully in the next few weeks. Great. Mr. Lindenau.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. August 25th, the Green Team had a meeting at the Community Garden for a maintenance day. The mayor and I were both there, and we had an excellent turnout of volunteers, and we did a little cleaning up and straightening out of the garden. We cleaned out a lot of garbage and spread some mulch and got ready for next year's new beds. So we have at least 6, but maybe 12 more beds by the time we get going next year. And special thanks to Bill Gunster to come over with his lawnmower and take down the very tall grass that was in between all the beds. And we're going to have a fall cleanup probably in the next few weeks once everything is done with all the gardens and get them all cleaned out and prepped for the winter so that they're ready for next year. That's all I have tonight, sir. Thanks.
Thank you. Mr. Morrow.
Yes, Mr. Mayor. First of all, as a pool liaison, I just want to echo your sentiments from the Maywood swim team. Having kids on the team it's extra special. And again, congratulations to the coaches and all the volunteers that make that happen, because being there and seeing it, it's a lot of work. Recycling, townwide garage sale, October 17th from 9 to 6. There's going to be, you have to come to the Borough for a $5 permit, and with that permit, you will get advertising in the Bergen Record and the Howard County Community News. There is a hazardous waste recycling happening at Bergen Community College, Sunday, October 18th. There is an electronics recycling happening at the Bergen County Camp Bar Reservation up in Mawa, Saturday, October 24th. There's also a shred event happening October 3rd at Community Bank parking lot from 9 to 12. As far as the Historical Society goes, we're going to have the Hall of Fame tribute for the people from town. That's been nominated Sunday, January 17th at the Rec Center between 2 and 4, and December 27th will be our yearly tour of holiday lights. From the First Aid Squad, recently there needed some repairs, both 28 and ambulance 28, ambulance 27, so I want to congratulate both the Borough Administrator and the DPW for making that happen. Lastly, I was copying on a letter that, I'm sorry that we didn't get, Rick, but this is a letter that went to Jim Mason. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but I just want to echo some sentiment from someone from town. Some of the line that I lined out was, "You were so patient and kind, you put my mind at ease. Knowing you were watching out for me and my family made all the difference. I want to thank you for being a public official who takes his responsibility seriously, really cares for the people he serves." So congratulations to Jim Mason for that. And that's it. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Well, thanks to my liaisons, I have almost zero report. The only thing I will mention is that Friday 9/11 there will be a service at Memorial, Cross Street Memorial School. Grades 1 through 3 will be there, and it will take place at 8:45 a.m. We will also be dedicating the plaque for the 9/11 monument at that time as well. And later on that evening, the annual service of remembrance will be on Friday, September 11, 2015, at the First Presbyterian Church on the corner of Maywood and Toma Avenues. It will begin at 7:30 p.m. It is ecumenical. In principle. All right, let's move on to action items. We have 2.
You want to just,
I'm sorry.
you want wanted to mention October 1st.
That's cool. That's fine. I can, yeah. Well, we're going to have, we'll have a meeting before then. But we have the Fall Fest on October 4th, and right before that is the Maywood Avenue Hawks. It is the Maywood Hawks 5K, which, fourth annual. And I know you and I are on. We are. Any other takers coming? Any other councilmen?
I'll be tripping you as part of the...
All right, well, you're working, so that's right, you better have water for me. All right, so on to the action list. We have discussion on September 22nd meeting. We neglected to realize that it is the beginning of Yom Kippur on the 22nd. So luckily we have another Tuesday of the month, so that would be September 29th. If everyone is amenable to that evening, I would like to just move the meeting from the 22nd to the 29th, if that's okay. Anyone have a problem with that?
I'm coming back that day, but I should be there
Okay.
in time for that.
How's that for everybody else?
Good, thank you.
You okay with that?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, I know where it is, so we'll move that to the 22nd. Thank you very much. And we have some, the Health and Wellness Center, we have Hopkroft Avenue sidewalk correspondence.
That everybody received.
Everybody received.
Packets.
Having our packets, they're looking to do the sidewalk, going in and looking to fix that sidewalk. So anyone who walks to the Health and Wellness Center have easy access. Have that correspondence
And doing that to look at the bond.
Oh, that's correct, yeah, they want to have their bond, the bond that they have with us, they want to have it reduced by the amount of money that it's going to cost to do the upgrades to the sidewalk. Rather than take it out of their pockets, they want to take it out of that money. Now, it's not, I don't think it's a condition of doing it, but they're asking.
We have the scope of the work.
That's the next step. I want to see how much it's going to cost. I'm just spitballing. It's $15,000. It's a lot different than $100,000. So we have to see what the cost is.
At the planning board meeting, that has been discussed on a number of occasions, and it was also discussed not only how the sidewalk was going to be done, from where to start and where they're going to finish, and also possibly putting up a pedestrian gate and replacing the existing gate that is there now. So that's all part of the discussion, so I'm just curious if what they're looking to do during this work.
All right, you know what, we'll get a little bit more, because I know Roberta's been discussing about this, so why don't we wait until the next meeting and we'll discuss it then? Because they're looking for approval to go forward with that, so let's wait until...
Yeah, there's been a lot of discussion in the planning board about this.
Yeah, well, this wasn't on for approval for tonight anyway, it's just I wanted to give everybody a heads up on the action. Okay, so let's see what we're doing right now. Is there anything else? There's nothing else on the action list, so let's move forward. We have resignations. Resignation of James Smith and Robin McIntyre as crossing guards effective September 1st, 2015. Is there a motion for the resignation, for the acceptance of the resignation?
So motion approved.
Second?
Second.
Roll call?
Trevino?
Yes.
Didier?
Yes.
Eisenberg?
Yes.
Messer?
Yes.
Lindenau?
Yes.
Maroni?
Yes.
Appointments. We have Ashley Valdivieso as probationary member of the Maywood First Aid Squad, effective September 8th, 2015. And we have Ronald Giorgetti as a full-time crossing guard effective September 1st, 2015, at an hourly salary of $17 per hour. Is there a motion for the appointment?
So moved. Second.
Roll call?
Trevino?
Yes.
Didier?
Yes.
Yes.
Eisenberg? Messer?
Yes.
Lindenau?
Yes.
Maroni?
Yes.
Council approve the following. Approval requested from Memorial School to hold their annual trunk or treat on Friday, October 30th, 2015, from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m., closing off West Brown Avenue. Number 2, request for the Senior Citizens Club of Maywood to park their personal cars in the swimming pool parking lot from September 21st to the 24th, 2015. Is there a motion for the approval?
Motion to approve.
Second. Roll call.
Trevino?
Yes.
DeHere?
Yes.
Eisenberg?
Yes.
Nestor?
Yes.
Lindenau?
Yes.
Maroni?
Yes.
All right, resolutions by title.
Resolution 11915, resolution authorizing bidding for the purchase of a 2016 J-Hook truck with lift plow and various equipment. Resolution 12015, authorizing Bergen County Open Space Trust Fund application for Memorial Park Improvement Project, Phase 2. Resolution 12115, renewal of 2015-2016 liquor license. Resolution 12215, resolution awarding a contract to Gothold Paving LLC for the 2015 sidewalk programs in the Borough of Maywood, County of Bergen, New Jersey.
Is there a motion for the adoption?
Motion to approve. Second.
Roll call.
Trevino?
Yes.
DeHere?
Abstain from 12215, yes to the balance.
Eisenberg?
Yes.
Nestor?
Yes.
Lindenau?
Yes.
Maroni?
Yes.
We have no ordinances. Is there any new business? Do we have any old business? Or is there any miscellaneous business? All right, we have a closed session, and I believe that is for contract
No, it's a litigation.
litigation, and then we'll actually have, I've asked the chief to be with us in closed session as well, so that will be for the purposes of talk about the EA.
Okay. That's contract.
Thank you for waiting, Chief, by the way. Thank you very much. Behind the pillar.
Is there
They put a big pillar. Is there a motion to go to close?
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Be resolved, Mayor and Council, Borough Mayor, pursuant to the provisions of the Open Public Meeting Act, Mayor and Council meet in closed session to discuss the following subject matters: litigation and contracts. Be further resolved that as precisely determined at this time, the discussion conducted in said closed session can be disclosed in the public upon taking final action thereon, provided disclosure not failure to become transparent, privilege, or constitute undue invasion of privacy. Be further resolved, Mayor and Council, Borough Mayor, did not envision that we'll return to open session after this meeting, but reserve the right to do so.
Chief, we're going to go upstairs.
Mr. Attorney, how can we not? Mr. Attorney, how can we not, for these gallery start? I'm sorry?
You got a call from